10 of the world's most elite luxury brands are facing a crisis no one predicted. Once unthinkable scandals, jaw-dropping price hikes, and angry customers are threatening not just profits, even the meaning of prestige itself. Industry experts confirm sales drops, exposed waste, and public outrage are just the beginning. What went so wrong inside icons like Louis Vuitton and Chanel that global trust is crumbling now? The unraveling starts here. Versace once stood for pure, unapologetic glamour. The Medusa head, wild Baroque prints, and Gianni's supermodel runways burned into pop culture. Today, the brand is everywhere and nowhere at once. After Capri Holdings took control in 2018, Versace's future was mapped out in boardrooms, not ateliers. The plan was to make Versace a $2 billion powerhouse by opening more stores, pushing more accessories, and ramping up outlet channels. But with every new outlet and every discount rack, the old aura faded. Capri's filings spell it out. Outlet expansion is a growth lever, not a side note. Versace's name now pops up in dozens of outlet villages from Woodbury Common to Bicester, right alongside brands built for the masses. Full-price boutiques share the stage with racks of last season's logo sneakers at 40% off. The Medusa is not rare anymore. It is just another label in the sale bin. The outlet strategy is eroding exclusivity. Meanwhile, Versace's public face is a non-stop parade of celebrities and influencer campaigns. Dua Lipa, Lady Gaga, Gigi Hadid, Megan Thee Stallion, Cillian Murphy. The front row is always packed. The viral moments keep coming. J.Lo's jungle dress reboot, supermodel tributes, TikTok capsules. But the more the brand leans on fame, the less anyone can say what Versace stands for. Fashion insiders now call it a celebrity costume brand, all spectacle, no center. The celebrity focus has hollowed out the message. As the world pivots to quiet luxury and subtlety, Versace is left chasing noise. The result is a brand caught between red carpet and retail markdown, searching for an identity while its old prestige slips through its fingers. Burberry built its legend on the trench coat, British military grit, explorers in the rain, and a check pattern as recognizable as any royal crest. But in 2018, that legacy collided with a scandal that stunned even longtime fans. Burberry's annual report revealed the company had destroyed £28.6 million worth of unsold clothes, accessories, and perfume in just 1 year. Over 5 years, the tally reached £90 million. The reason was protecting exclusivity. The company preferred to burn unsold stock rather than let it end up on discount racks or in unauthorized hands. The numbers sparked outrage. Environmental groups and consumers blasted Burberry for fueling waste and pollution, especially as the brand touted its commitment to sustainability in glossy campaigns. Headlines in The Guardian and WWD called out the contradiction, and activists accused the house of hiding a dirty secret behind its heritage image. Social media lit up with anger, with users questioning how a luxury label could justify torching brand new goods while preaching climate responsibility. Facing a storm of criticism, Burberry announced it would end the practice. The company pledged to reuse, repair, donate, or recycle unsold items instead of destroying them. But the damage was done. Burberry's reputation for responsible luxury was in tatters, and its trench coat, once a symbol of British endurance, now carried the stain of corporate waste. For a generation that demands ethics as well as elegance, Burberry became a cautionary tale. Prestige is not just about a logo or a legacy. It is about living up to your own standards when no one is watching. Prada's story begins in Milan, 1913. Mario Prada's shop was a temple of fine leather and subtle design. For decades, the name meant intellectual luxury, not just a logo. But lately, the conversation around Prada is changing, and it is not about aesthetics. After Raf Simons joined as co-creative director in 2020, excitement surged. Industry insiders predicted a golden age. Two visionaries, one house, the promise of precision and innovation. Yet as the hype grew, so did the volume of production, and with it, a wave of discontent. On Reddit and Purse Forum, complaints stack up. Loose stitching on Galleria totes, glue residue on re-edition nylon, zippers catching, hardware falling off bags that cost $2,000 or more. Trustpilot reviews echo the frustration. One-star ratings cite peeling leather, misaligned seams, and customer service that calls obvious defects normal wear. Resale experts at The RealReal and Vestiaire Collective flag a new trend. Vintage Prada bags get higher durability marks than recent models. Fashion Press, from Business of Fashion to Vogue Business, notes the shift. Prada's reputation for craft is now under scrutiny. Analysts warn that the pressure to meet demand, especially on hit items, has loosened quality control. Social media amplifies every flaw. TikTok videos under hashtag Prada bag fail rack up thousands of views, with users showing glue stains and torn linings. The message is clear: Prada's name alone is not enough anymore. For a brand built on the promise of lasting value, the backlash is a warning. When the details slip, so does the trust. And in luxury, trust is everything. Christian Dior's name once meant Parisian fantasy, cinched waists, new look glamour, and the Lady Dior swinging from a princess's arm. Fast forward to 2025, and the dream is now behind a velvet rope. Shoppers in Shanghai, Hong Kong, and even Avenue Montaigne find themselves waiting outside, phones in hand, told to book an appointment or come back later. The days of browsing Dior's icons on impulse are over. Walk-ins often face long delays, while VIPs and pre-booked clients glide past the crowds into private salons. For many, the message is clear: if you are not already in, you are not really welcome. But it is not just the door policy that has changed. The price tags inside have climbed at a breakneck pace. In 2020, a medium Lady Dior hovered just under $5,000. By 2025, the same bag often sits near $8,000 in major markets, a jump of roughly 70%. The canvas book tote, once the so-called entry icon, has leapt from under $3,000 to over $4,000. That is a 50% surge for a fabric bag, outpacing both inflation and wage growth. Numbers from Bain call this the breaking point for younger shoppers. Social media is filled with posts complaining about being priced out or feeling like Dior's boutiques are less shop, more fortress. Numbers from LVMH show the strain. The fashion and leather goods division, powered by Dior, saw revenues fall 8% in the first half of 2025. As tens of millions of customers rethink what luxury means, Dior's new barriers, both in price and in access, are turning away the very crowd that once made the brand a global obsession. Brand loyalty is changing forever. Louis Vuitton, once the gold standard for Parisian luxury, now finds itself facing a reality that no amount of scale can hide. The world's most famous monogram was built on the promise of exclusivity: trunks for royalty, leather goods for those who had truly arrived. But in 2025, the numbers are impossible to ignore. LVMH's fashion and leather goods division, led by Louis Vuitton, reported an 8% revenue drop in the first half of the year. In Japan, organic revenue plunged 28% in the second quarter alone. Even the rest of Asia, long a growth engine, slipped by 9%. For a house that seemed unstoppable, this is a public crack in the facade. The causes are everywhere. Younger shoppers, once eager to flex LV's logo, are walking away. Analysts point to a migration toward trend-driven labels like Prada and Miu Miu. Social media is full of posts mocking Louis Vuitton's logo saturation. Memes show monograms on everything, from skateboards to dog collars. Threads declare that LV is not special anymore. The collaboration with Supreme in 2017 was supposed to be a masterstroke, but it also set off a wave of logo fatigue that the brand has struggled to shake off. Today, what once felt rare now feels routine, and the market is responding. LVMH's own filings admit the slowdown is real. Recurring operating profit is down 15%, net profit off by 22%. For a brand that once defined aspiration, the warning is clear. Scale no longer equals immunity. When demand shifts, even the biggest empire can feel the ground move. The old rules of luxury, scarcity, mystique, desire do not bend for anyone, not even Louis Vuitton. Resale platforms have become the canary in the coal mine for luxury's true health. Before earnings calls or glossy campaigns, the secondary market lays bare what buyers actually value and what they are ready to dump. Reports from the Real and Vestiaire Collective in 2024 and 2025 show a split that is impossible to ignore. The icons, Chanel Classic Flap, Hermes Birkin, Louis Vuitton Speedy, still command strong prices, sometimes even trading above retail. These bags move quickly, with sell through rates that rival new product drops. They are the islands of value in a sea of markdowns. But the rest, logo-heavy seasonal releases, influencer collabs, and hyped-up limited editions, linger on resale sites, often at 30% to 50% below their original price within a year. A Gucci Marmont from 2018 or a Versace logo tote from last season might sit unsold for months, dropping in value with every relisting. Vestiaire Collective's 2025 Trends report points out that quiet luxury pieces, minimal branding and classic shapes, are outperforming the loud logo-driven stock that dominated the last decade. This is not just about taste, it is about trust. Buyers are tracking depreciation like investors track stock tickers. If a bag loses half its value in months, the message is clear. The market does not believe the hype. Resale data now acts as an early warning system, flashing red before official sales numbers ever do. For brands, the gap between what holds value and what tanks exposes a brutal truth. Prestige cannot be faked, and the market keeps score in real time. Gucci's name once meant Italian glamour, Florentine leather, jet-set style, and runway shockwaves that set the tone for decades. In 2019, that legacy took a direct hit. The brand released a black wool balaclava sweater featuring a red-lipped cutout that drew instant comparisons to blackface caricatures. Outrage spread in hours. Celebrities, activists, and everyday shoppers called out the design as offensive, with #BoycottGucci trending across Twitter and Instagram. Gucci's apology landed fast, but it was not enough to stop the backlash. Business of Fashion and WWD ran headlines dissecting the misstep, and the sweater was pulled from shelves worldwide. The company pledged diversity initiatives, hired a global head of diversity, and launched scholarships, but the damage lingered. For many, the incident was not a one-off. Critics pointed to a pattern of cultural appropriation, insensitive campaigns, and tone-deaf products that kept reopening old wounds. Alessandro Michele's creative reign ended in 2022, but the trust deficit remains. Gucci's reputation for boldness now comes with a question. How many second chances does a luxury house get before the aura fades for good? Chanel built its mystique on the promise of Parisian perfection. Coco Chanel gave the world the little black dress, the 255 flap, and ateliers humming behind closed doors. But in 2025, that aura is colliding with a reality check every luxury shopper can see on a price chart. The classic flap, once a symbol of accessible elegance, has more than doubled in price over the past decade. In 2015, a medium classic flap cost $4,900 in the US. By spring 2024, it had soared past $10,000, outpacing inflation and wage growth by a mile. Chanel's rationale is always protecting exclusivity, But for many, it just feels like testing how far the brand can push before loyalty snaps. Inside the boutiques, the story gets even messier. Social media forums are packed with side-by-side photos, vintage flaps with thick buttery leather, and solid hardware next to newer bags showing thinner skins, loose threads, and plating that wears down within months. Complaints about uneven stitching and delicate chains appear everywhere, from Reddit threads to TikTok unboxings and purse forum reviews. Customers paying 5 figures expect perfection, but instead, they trade horror stories about glue residue and warranty denials. The numbers do not lie. While the classic flap still commands strong resale, seasonal bags and non-icon pieces are being discounted faster than ever. The gap between Chanel's image and its output is now impossible to ignore. Price inflation without craft to match is not luxury, it is a credibility crisis. Brand loyalty is changing forever. Dolce & Gabbana once owned the red carpet. Sicilian drama, gold filigree, theatrical flourishes that made their legacy unmistakable. Then, in November 2018, a single ad campaign turned that prestige into a cautionary tale. The brand released a series of videos in China showing a Chinese model struggling to eat pizza and cannoli with chopsticks, while a patronizing voiceover watched the scene. The backlash was instant and ferocious. Chinese social media erupted with accusations of racism and disrespect. Screenshots of alleged racist messages from Stefano Gabbana himself, later blamed on hacking, poured fuel on the fire. Within days, Dolce & Gabbana's flagship Shanghai fashion show was canceled as celebrities and models withdrew en masse. Major e-commerce platforms, including Alibaba's Tmall and JD.com, removed Dolce & Gabbana from their sites. Chinese shoppers and influencers called for a total boycott. The brand was suddenly exiled from the world's biggest luxury market. Years later, the fallout is still visible. Dolce & Gabbana remains largely exiled from China, with battered store traffic and a reputation that has not recovered. Analysts at the Financial Times and South China Morning Post call it a textbook example of how a single cultural misstep can lock a brand out of a market worth billions. For Dolce & Gabbana, the price of arrogance was losing China, and no apology has been enough to buy their way back in. Bottega Veneta once stood apart from the luxury pack. No flashy logos, just woven leather and quiet confidence. Then in 2021, the house's padded cassette and Jody bags exploded on Instagram and TikTok. They became instant status symbols. Waitlists stretched for months, resale prices soared, and every influencer seemed to clutch the same puffy silhouette. The hype cycle hit overdrive. Bottega's signature green and pillowy shapes dominated street style from Seoul to New York. But by late 2023, the mood shifted. Social feeds filled with complaints about oversaturation and trend fatigue. Fashion forums called "The Look Played Out." Resale prices for the once coveted bags slid 30 to 40% within a year. Industry analysts warned that Bottega's aura of understated luxury was being drowned out by its own viral success. When quiet luxury becomes a uniform, even the most exclusive brands can lose their edge. Brand loyalty is changing forever. Balenciaga once meant fashion's sharpest edge. Cristobal's sculptural couture and Demna's viral streetwear made the house the industry chased. The name stood for prestige and provocation. In November 2022, that reputation unraveled in days. The gift shop campaign landed first, children holding teddy bear bags dressed in bondage-style harnesses. Outrage exploded. Then, the garderobe campaign surfaced. A Balenciaga bag staged atop Supreme Court documents from a child pornography case. The internet's reaction was swift and brutal. #CancelBalenciaga and #BurnBalenciaga trended across TikTok and Twitter, with millions condemning the brand. Videos of customers destroying their own Balenciaga bags racked up hundreds of thousands of views. Partners distanced themselves overnight. Dua Lipa dropped Balenciaga from her tour wardrobe. Business of Fashion rescinded Demna's Global Voices Award. The brand's first response was silence, then a vague apology, then a lawsuit for $25 million against the production company. Critics called it blame shifting. Under mounting pressure, Balenciaga dropped the lawsuit and issued a new apology, admitting to grievous errors and insufficient oversight. But the damage stuck. Analysts noted sales softness, and Kering's filings pointed to a 4% drop in the fourth quarter of 2022. Balenciaga fell out of the List Index Top 10, losing its place among the hottest brands. In the span of weeks, prestige collapsed into a cautionary tale, proof that even the most untouchable names can lose everything when trust is shattered. Brand loyalty is changing forever. Right now, the world's top luxury brands face a crisis deeper than falling sales. Trust itself is breaking down. Bain & Company warns of a generational shift as Gen Z questions what genuine value looks like. Authenticity, not just logos, will decide who survives. In the new luxury era, prestige isn't inherited. It's earned every single day. What do you think defines true luxury now? Join the conversation below.